increased and it got worse. And it just got worse over time. It wasn't until probably 3 years ago when I actually met Alicia, and I learned that I was kind of misdiagnosed a little bit. I had more going on than what I realized, and I was just in a search for how do I manage what's going on with me. I didn't know anything about my triggers. I didn't know that language. I didn't understand it. Nobody in my circle pretty much understood it either. So they didn't understand what I was going through because they didn't deal with it. And, so I had to do a lot of reaching out to kind of figure out how to get me help. And finally, one day, I went downhill. It went down really fast. I was cutting myself. I was very depressed. I was trying ways to end my life. And I remember I was at the doctor's office and she just was like, Janine, what's wrong with you? I said, nothing's wrong with me. She said, no, baby, something is wrong with you. So, I had to promise, because she wasn't going to let me leave, but I had to promise that I would go to see go to a mental health place and talk with them to see what kind of help they could give me. And I did that. And I would say that was probably, although the lowest, it was that could have ever happened to me. Because I was able to met other people who could help me and who were going through what I was going through. And I got involved with a lot of different things. And my journey was basically, I didn't want to feel alone the way I did. I never wanted anybody to feel like what they're going through isn't invalid. I didn't want anybody who had mental issues to feel like they were just alone. And so I go out into the communities, pretty much in my community. I go out there, just talking to people, just know that we're here. And just because I want to make sure to mention this, Ms. Arnetta asked me with what's currently going on with this crisis and how does it impact or have changed my mental health. And I can say that, during this crisis, definitely a lot of stuff peaked for me. A lot of my stress, a lot of my anxiety, it increased because it was just the unknown of what was going on now. I had, financial, as most people, the financial crisis did not help my stress at all. And trying to figure out how to take care of the social distance, but I missed the hug from my family members. I missed that interaction that I would have. Not being able to, go spend time with my friends has definitely because it makes me stand off when sometimes I don't need to be so isolated or feel like I'm isolated or by myself. And so those things, so what I have to do is still stay connected. And that's what's definitely helped me. I still go to therapy. We just have to do it over the phone. I still take my medication. If nothing else, I definitely talk with my psychiatrist, and he makes sure to send my medicine, and I make sure that I get it. And then I had to really get into a routine. And that routine, I had to get up, wash my face, brush my teeth, put on some clothes, even though I wasn't going anywhere. That was important for me. And it really helped me, you know, because staying for me in like, you know, my bedroom clothes all day didn't help me at all. It was slowly bringing me down. And so, you know, I found that I had to stay on some type of routine. And exercising is one of those things that has definitely helped me. And I had to figure out how to do it in the, you know, in the confines of the house. And just recently, probably within the last couple of weeks, I actually go outside and take a walk around the neighborhood. And those things, you know, help. Those things help me stay sane. And it's been a fight. Don't make no mistake about it, because, you know, you have those low periods at times. You have those old things that like to creep up into your mind and, you know, remind you of who or whatever you used to be. And so for me, you know, I have to fight against those things. I have to, you know, and I have to tell people, you know, like I tell my therapist, you know, I had 3 days of down days. And so, but this is how I kind of brought myself back up. And, you know, so for me, staying on the routine really did help that. And just, you know, and these days, the only thing I would say that I'm doing differently is I do a check-in with all those who follow my ministry, do a virtual check-in. And it's just, I'll post it, you know, so it's not the same time every day, but we just do a virtual check-in when we call in, and everyone just says how they're doing. And, you know, because there's people on the line from all walks, if you're dealing with, you know, not knowing how to help your kids because, you know, trying to teach your children because they can't go to school, that's a hard thing. But we have teachers on the line that can give you pointers and stuff like that. So it's just a great way to check in, to feel connected with someone. Because I think during this time, we just need to be connected, you know, as connected as we know how to be, you know, because we can't gather together. So it's just finding those ways to stay connected with one another so that no one feels like they're alone. I'm in a group where, you know, they always will post something like, you know, I'm having a hard time. I'm so alone. I don't have any family. I don't have any friends. I don't have anywhere I could go. And I'm just stuck in this house and I'm alone. And that's when, you know, if I see a post like that, I'll inbox them, call me. You know, I didn't even realize through Messenger you could call people. Call me. Did not know that. So I just said, well, call me. And then they'll call. And I'm like, hey, we don't know each other, but, you know, I'm their support and they're my support at that time. So, you know, it's just, you know, we have to try to figure out how to uplift one another during these times. And if it's talking to me on the phone, you know, via, like I said, Messenger for 5-10 minutes, then so be it. Let's do that, you know, 'cause I don't want to hear anything, you know, that you hurt yourself or, you know, and then if we can get you the help that you need, most definitely. You say anything, and I always tell them, you can say anything crazy if you want, but I will call 911 and let them know that I'm talking to you on the phone. And I'm not sure, but, you know, they can take care of them on that end. And I let them know that up front. I will do that. I will do that if I have to, and vice versa. If you feel like I'm in a crisis and want to make sure. My therapist, I did go into a crisis. She called 911 and came to my door. Are you okay? And I was like, maybe I'm not. You know, I don't think I'm okay right now. But, you know, I went to the doctors, you know, got the help. It was just one of those really bad days. So, you know, it's just staying connected the best way that we know how to help deal with what's happening right now, and letting people know that they are not forgotten, letting people understand that how they feel is very valid. I think sometimes we get into a situation where, you know, because I know somebody else going through this, I have no reason to complain. And my thing is, the person is going through what I'm going through. It doesn't take away from what you're going through and how you are feeling. What you're going through is very valid, and you can't dismiss it. You know what I'm saying? We need to deal with that. And so, you know, pretty much that's just, letting people know that they are valid, letting people know that they're not the only ones. And, there's people out there and what you're going through. And trust me, I get texts, emails all the time. And I even get calls, just before coming on here, my brother called. And, he was like, Jadid, I've never dealt with this, but I'm stressed out. I just don't know how to deal. I don't know how to handle. And I have kids, my wife, and I'm just not there, and I don't know what, like, well, it's, it's because of what's going on, you're in a stressed out situation. But don't be afraid to go if you have to go in your back porch, you know what I'm saying? And just get that little breath of air. Because at the same time of us being in the house and, we're allowed, to in the house to be together, you see personal time, I think, where you just can clear your own head and get your own thoughts together. I think you still need that personal time. And it's okay to have that personal time. And I said, as far more as your wife, if you go into the store to some gardening tools will ease her stress, then go to the store, get the gardening tools, come back. If that helps ease her stress, because it's like anything else. You got to pick your battle. And it's really a battle you want to fight with her. No, it's not. It's not even worth it. So, and we talked for an hour, and I told him I had to get up. But I get calls like that all the time. Just people who never really dealt with it on the level that I have, or anybody else that I know. And they were like, am I crazy? No, you're not crazy. Nobody needs to feel crazy during this time. And how it manifests in one person may not be the way it manifests in another person. You know what I'm saying? Somebody could just straight anxiety. Some people go to straight depression. It's how it works out, in the person. But, I just think just staying connected. And I'm just trying to make sure, I'm just staying connected and making sure that you know, if it's a routine that helps you get through the day, if it's just putting on clothes, do that. I'm sorry. What are some signs that a person need help? Signs that a person may need help would be if I'm talking to you, I people ask me a little bit too often about, different ways of committing suicide. I pay attention to that. That's something that I'm like, okay, we might need to, I'm very alert when I start hearing that. When I hear a person that went from being what we would consider normal, if you will, to barely wanting to talk, not answering any calls if someone calls or even texts, that person may need help. Like I said, if you're on the phone, you just say, I can't take it anymore. I'm going to, and then you hang up, I'm calling 911, something like that. I'm going to do. And those are signs that, when they're not maybe talking the normal way that they normally talk, be a sign. Some people may, I'm trying to, even with my brother, just the fact that he reached out to me, was to me sign that he's just trying to deal with whatever the stress is that he has going on right now. And for if someone who doesn't necessarily have an illness, but they're feeling an increase in anxiety and stress, I think for them to feel connected with someone, being able to know that someone is listening to them and is going to help them, is a good thing. Like I said, if I get a text from someone that maybe have never really reached out to me before, you know, I let them know I'm available to talk. Or, you know, I always tell people about the suicide hotline, you know, just to let people know there is someone that can talk with you 24 hours, 7 days a week, if that's what you need. And it's completely private. Some people don't want to talk about certain things because they feel like it's not private, or their business is going to be out there. And so, you know, I let them know it's a completely private thing. And again, only time that they will call 911 is if they feel like you are in complete danger of hurting yourself or someone else. And, you know, I think just having check-ins, whether you have a mental illness or not, it's nothing wrong with picking up the phone. It's nothing wrong with texting a person. I don't know, emailing people through Facebook, Instagram, however, the DMs that people have, just to check on them, to say, hey, how are you doing? How are you feeling? You know, isolation can do a lot of things to a lot of people when, you know, they feel like they can't be connected or around they used to connect with, or, you know. So I just think having that communication. So I call my people. I call everybody I know. I reach out on Facebook with my groups, you know, just be like, I'm just checking in. Everything okay? I'm available if you need to talk. You know, I think that's just a key thing, to try to stay connected. During this, I'm sorry, I'm trying to read in this time, is there something that the church and or people of faith can do to help? I think too, just even with the churches, my pastor, he calls and touch base. You know, we don't talk every day. He will call everyone and touch base. Hey, just make sure you're okay. Everything's going great. You know, I know we're not meeting right now, but you know, is there any prayer? You know, in those, in those, you know, if you have do a day where you can check in, where people can, you know, invite a friend in. I think just that verbal connection is a very good thing for people. Period. And I think those are the ways to help. Trying to reach out to those who maybe don't have like a, you know, like telephone or the internet, and finding ways to reach out to them. You know, sending cards. I think, you know, people can still receive mail, so maybe getting that card, you know, just to say, hey, I was thinking about you today. It's a very helpful thing and a very encouraging thing. And that's something as a church we can do. You know, just, you know, there's people still in nursing homes who still have no connection to their families, or the families don't check on them. We still have frontline people, you know, nurses and police officers, doctors, that still are not able to go home to their own families, that, you know, we can send cards to the hospitals. And just, you know, those are just ways that I think a church can help the people within the community. There's, you know, put flyers out, you know, if you don't mind walking out with your mask, of course, but just a flyer, just be like, we just want to know how you do. I received a text today from a friend who just said, how can I pray for you today? That's what I woke up to. And that was very encouraging. And I was like, it just made my day. And I just woke up. And that totally changed my for the day, just to receive that of someone saying, how can I pray for you today? What do you stand in prayer of? And I think if we can reach out in different ways like that, that really helps. That really helps. I'm sorry, so much feedback. I'm trying to. Was there any other questions? No? Okay.
Janine, how can the participants reach you if they want to reach out to you?
They can call me. It's 240-681-9275. That is the Symphony Reads Ministry number. Always email Symphony Reads with an S at the end. That's SymphonyReads @gmail.com. And of course, I'm on Facebook at Symphony Reads Ministry, Instagram, Symphony Reads,
MySpace.
and YouTube. Symphony Reads on YouTube. I'm sorry, yeah. I'm not on MySpace, I'm sorry. But I didn't even know they still had MySpace. I don't hear you. I'm sorry. Any other questions?
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, Ms. Arnett.
I'm not sure what's going on with me, but can you repeat it again, your website, so I can write it in the chat?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes. The website is www.symphonyreads, that's SymphonyReads, symphonyreads.com. And that's the website. So I'm sorry, I do have a website. And you can see when we do our virtual check-ins. We have one coming up actually tomorrow at 4:00 p.m. And if you email me, I can send you the link to be a part of that. Yeah.
Good morning, everyone. I am Sister Corrine Kelly. I am with It's Getting Better All the Time Mental Health Outreach. I've been a member with them for so many years. 12-year cancer survivor and Sunday school teacher, and have been a cosmetologist for over 40 years. I do not have a mental health issue, but I have family members that have, and I've been, working with them. So I do, first of all, want to say thank you to all of you all that are out there on the front line, that are putting your lives out for the sake of someone else. And of course, we're praying that God will keep you all through all of these times that we're going through. I was listening to you, Janine, and I want to say it's interesting because I sent out the cards to one person. I take my dad for chemo. So what I did was take some fruit bowls over for them, knowing that they're where they would go to get their lunches and things may be closed. So, and left a card saying thank you. We reach out to each other, but like you said, with the nursing home, and there are also seniors that are in their homes and may not have anyone. So there's one particular person, she stayed on my mind and called, and she was so thankful. She's about 80-some years old, just to be able to know that someone was concerned and was able to give her a phone call. Another dear friend, she was tested positive, and at the same time, her husband went into the hospital with a heart attack. Well, he didn't make it. So that means she's dealing with all of that. And just being able to call and talk to her, she was so thankful. And before I got ready to hang up, she says, I know what you're going to say, yes. And so people know your reputation. She says, and you're going to ask me, can you have prayer with me? I hadn't got to that part first yet, right? So, but when they know you and know that they can call and there's someone that they can talk to. I have a niece who, unfortunately, through this, she was going from hospital to hospital to hospital, and I kept trying to encourage her to just stay home. But finally, they had to put her in isolation. So, that leaves the caregivers, they're concerned. They don't know what to expect. They can't, necessarily always go where they are and, how they're doing, if they're taking care of themselves. So hitting that from a different standpoint, dealing with people, you talked about those that may be dealing with wanting to commit suicide. I actually had to intervene for 2 of my loved ones in that case. And one of them was able to get herself together and be able to go out and be a help to help others. So it's not just those that are dealing with the mental illness, but it's those that have to be there to help you all through these things, as you're dealing with them. One thing I do have learned over the years is have to have patience with them. Have to have patience. May get phone calls back to back to back to back, but just knowing that somebody is there makes a big difference for them that are going through it. It can be stressful. I have to admit that. And, when you're getting those calls at 3 and 4 o'clock in the morning, but if you said to them, I'm here for you, then we got to make ourselves available because we don't know when those phone calls may come in. And have to have the right attitude about it and recognize, as you said, there go I, but by the grace of God. She asked the question of how can the church help? Well, my standpoint, we can't sit there and wait for other church members. If you know the Lord for yourself and you have a relationship with him, then that's what we got to know, that this is what we've been called to do, to be there for somebody else. In order to do so, you got to forget about self for a little while. As far as being able to step away, it might take going to take a walk. It might take going to just stand on the porch. It might take just shutting yourself away to revamp yourself so that you can be a help for somebody else. So all of those things I find are important in these type of situations. Listening is very important, and it's one thing that I've learned in working with people, that if you're dealing with someone that doesn't want to hear, and the only one they want to hear is themselves, the only thing you can do is listen to them at one point and just, inwardly pray for them. They may not want prayer, but that doesn't mean I can't still intercede for them, so yeah, it can get to be a little stressful all the way around. So it's knowing how to not just be an encouragement for them, but being able to relieve ourselves while we're working with them. And you can't, wear them in the sense that you're afraid of every little thing that they might say or do. They need to know that we are sincere and that we're really there for them. And that to me is important, being sincere with the people that you're dealing with. They also need to know that might need some work of encouragement. One situation where I had to constantly encourage the individual to still take care of themselves. What I mean by that is comb your hair, you need to go get a bath, but it's the way that we say these things that can help them or hurt them. So have to have wisdom in dealing with them and the words that we use with those people, with people that are going through that we talk to. So all of those things are important. Going through now with this pandemic and all, people really need encouragement more. They need to, it might be a simple thing, is, I got a meal for you. I can't come in, but I can leave it, knock on the door and leave it for them. These type of things, we don't realize how far those things go. I'm not on social media, so yeah, I got to do the other way. Either a text, a phone call, or send a card. You know? So those have been my resources to be able to reach out to those that I know of that as the Lord lead me into, who needs an encouragement. Some have said, well, you called me right at the time that I needed to hear from somebody. So we need to be led of the Lord, even in calling and checking on people, know that we love them.